some information about your portfolio, right? So how you have invested your data, what kind of returns you are getting. Okay, if you get into any demat portal, there you will find all that thing. In that way, you can able to easily understand how much amount you have invested in mutual fund, how much amount you have invested in stocks or in other investment uh, areas. That will give you some kind of an information. So information is nothing but it's a concise and visual representation. Concise or visual representation of your data is nothing but your information. It can be in the form of reports, it can be in the form of dashboards. When I'm saying concise, means what? You are aggregating that data. So you must be dealing with hundreds of mutual funds. Okay. But now by looking at each of those mutual funds and understanding how much I have invested and how much returns I am getting, it's a, tedious process and it may require a lot of time. But if I concise that data and show you in the form of some kind of a graphical representation saying that, okay, out of the total amount what you have invested, 30% you have invested in mutual funds. Okay, and in that 30% mutual funds, whatever you have invested, you got 15% of returns. Now that becomes your information. You will easily understand, okay, if I have invested 20% on stocks and it is giving me 30% of returns, here I have invested 30% of my total amount in mutual fund and it is giving me just 14% of returns. Now, with this information, again, you can take a better decisions. You can even further plan your portfolio. So in some or the other way, everyone, okay, every human being is the consumer of data science. Okay, so we consume that information. Now comes the knowledge. So you might have understood, like, it is a skill. You cannot, anybody cannot just transform the data into a report or into a meaningful dashboard. There is a skill involved. You need to know what graphs and charts needs to be used, to show that information. You need to know what kind of aggregation you have to do. Okay, how the KPIs, which is key performance indicators, when it comes to business. Okay, so what kind of KPIs would be relevant for business? How that data can be transformed into those KPIs? Okay, all that thing is a skill, okay, which we will understand again in this course in detail. So that skill is important, and you need to apply the right techniques to extract that information. So that becomes a data science. Okay, so that skill which I'm talking about is nothing but a science. Okay, which we will learn, and then we always say that data is information, because we always consume the data in the form of information, okay, as a form of dashboard or the reports. But we never ever uh, directly or indirectly consume the data as a knowledge. But you must be surprised that knowingly or unknowingly we are using that knowledge which is coming out from the data. So, for example, in everyone's mobile phone, there would be a weather.com app, right? Weather app. If you open that weather app, it will tell you, what would be the temperature in next 1 hour or next day. So there is a time period which you can select, and it will give you the forecasting. Okay, it will give you the weather prediction. Now, how that is coming? Out of the blue, it is not coming, right? Somebody sitting and he's doing some kind of a magic, and based on that, he's not identifying or he's not predicting that the temperature would be like this. Okay, the weather would be like this. There is some scientific method which is being applied, okay, on the historical data to identify the patterns, and based on that pattern, that particular model is predicting the future values. So now what is that? That is knowledge. Okay, so why we call it as a knowledge? Because again, related to our lives. Okay, if the person is knowledgeable, he can predict something unknown. Okay, so majorly you can consider our elders. Okay, so they can predict what's gonna happen. Okay, if you meet any old farmer, okay, without looking at the watch or something, okay, with the sun direction, with a lot of other things, okay, he can accurately, he can tell what the time is, okay, he can predict. He can predict, whether it will rain or not. So how these in the real life we are predicting? We are predicting because we have that knowledge, and how that knowledge is coming through our learning, okay, how that learning is coming, through our experience, right? So we have seen, so that farmer might have seen or experienced, since his childhood, how the things changes, okay, with respect to weather, or with respect to sun's position, with respect to animals, and all those things, right, around. So that comes through his experience, and over the period of time, through that experience, he has learned all those patterns, and with that patterns, he has that knowledge which can help him to decide or predict what may happen. Okay, he can identify those patterns. So that is knowledge. Now here, when we are making the machines knowledgeable and intelligent, we have to feed that knowledge. We have to make that machine um, to have that kind of a knowledge based on which it can predict, right? So how that knowledge will come, as I mentioned, it comes through learning. So here we have to make machines learn, and that's where we use machine learning. Okay, we call it as ML, machine learning. So these are the algorithms which help the machines to learn the patterns. Firstly, to identify the patterns and learn the patterns and relationship from the data. And once it learns, it transforms that learning into a knowledge as a model. We call it as a model. Okay. So model is nothing but you can consider it as a simple equation like, okay, y equal to beta 0 plus beta 1 x1 plus beta 2 x2. It can be as a simple linear model. Okay. Now this model is nothing but the knowledge. And all this data x1, x2, these are all columns. Okay, and these are the weights, beta 0, beta 1, beta 2. So which variable is important, which variable is not important, you can identify through these coefficients, and how they are related to this particular y variable, you can able to understand through this equation. Now, if you have this equation, if you have some idea about x1 and x2, you can just substitute that value into this particular equation and you can predict y. So it's a very simple example what I have took, but there are multiple other complex algorithms, which can even define the nonlinear relationship between the variables. So pattern is about like if the x is increasing, x1 is increasing, whether y is increasing or not. So how this y is getting impacted with the change in x1 or with the change in x2 is something, which these algorithms can able to detect and identify from the data. Okay, and now that model will be used for prediction. So that's how we can say that this data science is a subject which can extract the information and the knowledge from the data. So data is very, very important, guys. Okay. Again, we will discuss a lot of things about data. So data, and why is it important? I'll tell you first. First of all, you can, for performing this science, you need to have a data, right? So data is a very uh, it's a ingredient. Okay, it's a fundamental requirement what any data scientist will have, to develop any data science solution. So the data, you need to have it. Okay, then only you can do. For example, for the carpenter, as a wood is the primary thing which he needs, okay, to on which he can build uh, some kind of furniture and all. So similarly, for data scientists, data is the raw material, okay, on which he can perform data science and build solutions. Now, when it comes to data, there is a lot of aspects, which you have to look into before developing any solution. One thing is quality. Okay, data has to be good. Okay, data has to be accurate. Otherwise, all the patterns and all the knowledge which these machines will derive out of the data, okay, will go wrong. Okay, if I teach you data science incorrectly, So you will learn everything incorrectly, and whatever knowledge you will gain will be of no use, and you cannot apply it anywhere, and you cannot solve any kind of a problem. Same way here, the data, if the data quality is not good, then whatever you will build on top of this data will not be useful for anything. Okay. So if the wood is not good, if the carpenter, first of all, cannot go and build a good quality products, okay, out of that particular wood, and it will not sustain for long. So that the quality is very, very important, and we will discuss like how we can test the quality of the data. Okay, first the raw material, which is data, you have to test it. Otherwise, it would be garbage in and garbage out. And there is another saying in data science is that your analysis will become paralysis. Okay. Rather than helping, it will further create problems to the business. As I mentioned, there is a strategic, tactical, and operational decisions, which are being made because with the help of data. All those decisions will go wrong, and it further, it will create chaos, and it will bring out a lot of problems. Okay, in the business. So first, data is important. You have to check, and the second thing is you need to start understanding the data also. Understanding the data means you have to understand the structure of the data. Okay, when it comes to structure, you need to understand the schema. You need to understand what are those columns, what are those rows, how the data is being captured in the data, what the data is talking about. At a very generic level, you need to understand. And even in terms of functional understanding, okay, you need to have around that data. Then you can go and perform the analysis. Otherwise, it is not a some kind of a tool or a magical wand which will you just move it, and automatically it will start generating the insights. No. And if it could have been automated in that way, then we don't require any data scientist. So here the data scientist, and trust me guys, that's the reason now this data science is not getting automated, because you need here humans, to make sure that whatever machine is learning is learning in an accurate way or not. That's something cannot be automated. In other fields, a lot of automations are happening, and that's the reason people are losing out job, because those are very mundane and very redundant kind of a task what people were doing, and because of some intelligent applications and all, those redundant and mundane job can be done through machines. But in making the machines intelligent, you require data scientists. That is another reason why there is a huge demand and why there are layoffs happening in other fields. Now it's a recession time. Now you might be seeing that, okay, most of the people, they are getting laid off in the organization. Why they are getting laid off? One primary reason is a lot of things are getting automated. Now, I'll give you an example. First of all, this chatbot, right? You have seen earlier, people were like, being employed into call centers, right? People, most of the every third person, whom you meet, at that time, they were working in the call centers. Just after engineering, people used to join call centers. Okay, they just learn, you know, spoken English, and then they used to join. But now things are changing. Now things are becoming very challenging. Now people are struggling after 10 years or 11 years of their experience, okay, working in a particular domain, because things are getting automated. There are much more intelligent application which has come into the market, which can do certain kind of a task in much more efficient way than the humans. So what business will do? They are like, they are money minded. Okay, so if the business sees that, okay, it is bringing more efficiency and it is reducing the cost, and they will just go and lay off the people. They say that we don't require these many people. Okay, then that's the one another reason I would should tell you that if you get into this data science and AI, you will be in charge, to build those intelligent applications, but it will not affect your job, because for developing those applications, for developing those solutions, there has to be a person, who should go and humanly, manually look into the process, look into the model, test it, and see that, okay, it is doing a good job or not. So it cannot be blindly built, okay, these solutions. So yeah, so using knowledge to predict the unknown, that's what we discussed. And here, the power of data. Earlier, in my journey, okay, when I was a business analyst, in some or the other way, I was consuming the data in building out reports, okay, market reports or industry reports or customer reports. That in there, I was using data somewhere in my report. I was putting graphs to show that how the market trend is, how the industry trend is, how the consumer behavior is in the form of some kind of charts and graphs. But my understanding was limited to that only. And probably there would be few people in this session, who might have not even got a chance, to create those kind of analysis. So for them, even that analysis uh, would be significant for them. But later, um, when I started looking at the data from various perspective, I saw that how much value this data is. Okay, this data has. Okay, so you can build so many solutions on top of the data that you even can't think about it. You can build products, you can build applications, you can build standalone solutions, you can bring out so much information and knowledge that everything can be uh, driven automatically through these machines. Okay, so a lot can be done. So that's the reason data is being compared with compared with oil, natural resources like water, electricity and all. Okay, because it has lot of untapped value and power, which a data science can able to extract. So that's the reason the data scientists are considered as people who can bring out or who can improve the business outcomes by leveraging this power of data. Okay, now what all is required to build these kind of solution. In broadly there are three areas: mathematics and statistics, which I put it as a science. Okay, so in mathematics you might have heard about differentiation, integration, right? Lot of other different kinds of mathematic formula, okay, which we have discussed, right? Logs, anti-logs, log table, anti-log table, okay, all that thing we have seen. But we never even imagined, right, the application of those mathematics. I would consider out of all the sciences, mathematical sciences is much more powerful. In some or in every science, some or the other way, mathematics will be used. So that's the power of number. Okay. And these are the numbers, which you will see in the data. And whatever kind of data you are using, the structured or unstructured, when it comes to unstructured like images or the text, okay, though they are data, unstructured data, we cannot use it as is because we cannot apply mathematics on the text. We cannot apply mathematics on images. So that images or that text, that unstructured data has to be converted into a structured data, and that too into a numerical form. Then only we can perform some kind of mathematical or statistical operations on top of it. So we will understand, what are the different methods through which, we can process that unstructured data and can convert that into a structured data, which can be used, to build some kind of analytical solutions. That is important. So this we will cover in this course, mathematics and statistics, uh, in relation to data science. Then the third broader area is the information technology. Now you know this science, you know about different algorithms, different techniques and all, but how you will apply it on the data? Okay, so because the now data is in the form of in this form of digital format, sorry. So now you will find the data in databases. So you can see the data only through your computers. Now, no one is using hard copy of the data. Nobody looks at the report, in the hard files, in paper and all those things. Everyone view the data digitally. So now this data is being captured in the digital form. Okay, so then you need to have some kind of digital way, to process and, to extract all this value from the data. So this is the field which we call as information technology, IT. Okay, so when it comes to IT, you need to understand all the digital tools, the platforms. You need to know, um, how to write programs. Okay, that programming knowledge, knowledge about the databases, knowledge about different platforms where which you can use to process that data and to build applications, digital applications. So now the data science is a very prominent field in digital now. So in our organization, we have a big service line called as digital. Okay, so building digital platforms, building applications, capturing data, storing the data on cloud, processing the data, building solutions, all that thing, we offer as a digital offerings, service offerings. In our digital, now data science is one of the sub-service offering, sub-services. Okay. And then we have a cloud team, then we have a data engineering team, then we have a DevOps team. Okay, then we have a mobility team, UI UX team, okay, application development team, testing team. So it is a big service line, and around 700 plus people, are there, in this entire digital service line. You will find this digital team in every company now, because every company, they are, or every business, they are having a digital footprint. So all the data they are generating digitally, and they have to have a digital ecosystem in place, to capture, store, manage, govern, process, build, consumption, everything digitally. Okay, so IT is very important. If you do not understand this entire IT landscape, which any business is having, okay, the whole environment, whole ecosystem, you won't be able to understand how this business is running and from where the data is coming, how it is capturing, what all tools you need to use, to extract the data or to process the data, all that thing. So IT is important. So in this course, we are going to cover three major tools. One is Python. Python is such a beautiful programming language, and it is such a versatile programming language that when I talk about UI, UX, mobility, application development, data engineering, cloud engineering, everything, in all these streams, Python you can consider as a common programming language which are being used in all these fields. Okay, so if you are pro in Python programming, so there are multiple opportunities outside. Okay, so you can get into data engineering, cloud technology, DevOps, everything. Okay, on top of that, you have to learn something else also. But Python is the core. Now, Python is not something must good to have, but it is must to have. You look at any data scientist job profiles. Okay, you will find Python as the asked tool in every profile. So we are going to cover Python, okay, and then we'll see, how to execute programs on Python, how to build the programs, how to debug it, how to uh, how to process the data using Python, everything. So Python, as I mentioned, it is a versatile tool. A lot of things can be done through Python, but in this course, we will cover Python with respect to data science. How you can process the data, how you can import and export the data through Python, how you can train the algorithms, how you can apply different kinds of analytics on data using Python. All that thing we are going to cover. That's Python. Second is PySpark. I'll write first is Python. Second is PySpark. The Spark is a big data tool. You might have also heard about big data analytics. Everywhere, in past couple of years, everywhere we were hearing this word big data, right? What is big data? Okay, first of all, we need to understand, what exactly is the big data. So in the subsequent slides, we will discuss about this in more detail. But in short, I will say that a data which cannot be processed on a single system, okay, on a single node, that is considered as a big data. So, for example, if you have to process 1 TB of data and you cannot connect to your computer and start processing that 1 TB of data because your RAM or your hardware may not support that much amount of data. So, you need to have some kind of a big data tool. So we have heard about Hadoop. Hadoop is a big data tool. It's a complete ecosystem in itself. It is not one single tool. When you look at the Hadoop architecture, there would be 10 different other small tools which are integrated internally, inside Hadoop, to create that kind of an ecosystem. So in storing, in managing, in processing different kinds of tools internally, they will be used, to bring out that power, okay, in that particular tool to process huge amount of data. For example, there is a Hive. Hive is nothing but, it can store the data in such a way that, querying on that particular Hive through Hive querying. Okay, you can easily retrieve or extract the data, from huge amount of data. Okay, so on top of that Hadoop, there is another tool. So all these big data tool, open source tool has been developed by Apache Foundation. So we call as Apache Hadoop or Apache Spark. So there is another tool which is Spark, which is primarily is a data scientist tool. Now, the Spark is capable of processing huge amount of data and also help you to train machine learning and deep learning models also on the huge amount of data by using this particular tool. Now, how that tool functions, okay, can we install that particular tool on our computer and our computer would be supercomputer, will get converted into supercomputer? No, it's not like this. What this Spark, it's a tool, which can help you to process the data on multiple nodes parallelly. So in Hadoop, what it does is it combine the multiple nodes together, okay, and can help this data, to move into multiple nodes. And this Spark is a tool, which is on top of Hadoop, to process that data parallelly on multiple nodes. Parallelly means is simply means you have four computers. Okay, now you have 1 terabytes of data. Now the data will be partitioned and the data will get processed in chunks in all these four different computers parallelly, and then finally the results will aggregated and will show up to you on your system. So there is a master node, there is a worker node. Okay, that whole architecture we are going to cover, understand, okay, in detail in the Spark classes. And inside this particular tool, Spark, you can use multiple programming languages. You can use Java, you can use Scala, and you can use also Python. So as I said, Python everywhere you will find out. Every major tools are compatible with Python. Even on cloud, majorly we use Python. So here in Spark also there is a plugin, so which through which you can use Python also. So this programming language, Python inside Spark is known as PySpark. So with understanding of Python, we can run Spark modules or Spark programs or Spark jobs using Python. So, but there would be few native syntaxes and functions related to Spark, okay, which we need to understand. But overall, the syntaxes and all those things will be just like Python. Okay, so that also we will cover. The third part is Tableau. Now, these are all open source. Now, Tableau is a third party tool. It's a proprietary tool. It's a licensed tool. So Tableau we will cover. So this is a kind of a bonus thing, which we have added. There would be a couple of people, after the end of the course, they may feel that, okay, programming, I'm seeing it's too much of programming. Okay, Python, PySpark. Now also few people might be getting scared. Okay. If this much of programming is required. That means I should drop. Okay, I should not go ahead with data science. Probably your decisions may change. Okay, but it's not like that. Okay, there are a lot of alternate ways, through which, you can also be in data science field. if even if you don't know Python or any other programming language. So there are multiple platforms which we call as no code platforms or low code platforms. One such platform is Tableau. Okay. So, but when we say low code or no code platform, definitely somebody might have to build that kind of a platform where the entire coding part will run behind the scenes, and but on the top, on the UI, it will be completely no code where the users can just drag and drop the components and just select the options, and automatically everything should run behind the scenes. So there's a reason people, there are various organizations who have developed those kind of a tools, and they are selling it based on licenses. Okay, there would be some price associated to those particular kind of platforms. So one such platform is Tableau. Again, it is related to data science, but primarily it is a visualization tool. Now they are kind of upgrading it. They are bringing much more advanced functionality into this particular tool. Now even some level of predictive analytics you can also perform on the Tableau. But it is very much popular in the market. There are various other visualization tools, there is no doubt. So, but this is the leader, okay, in the visualization space. So when I was in Deloitte, I was working on this particular platform, and I was in love with this platform. This is one of my favorite platform. It is so with a very few steps, you can bring out a lot of insights from the data, and the kind of visualizations you can create on this platform, that those would be very rich. Okay, once you work on the Tableau, you don't feel like working on any other visualization tool. Firstly, it is easy, and that the kind of output you generate, through Tableau is no comparison with any other visualization tool. Okay, there's a reason it is a market leader now. This earlier, it was a different organization. Okay, but now this has been acquired by Salesforce. Okay, now Tableau is a proprietary product of Salesforce now. So Salesforce, I don't know if you are aware of it. It is a popular CRM tool, okay, which major organization they use. I see somebody has raised their hand. Anybody has any question?
I raised it and lowered it, but it is not related to this. I have a question towards the end of the session.
Okay. So if you want to ask now, also you can ask. There's no issue.
No, since we are learning Tableau, AI, ML, and I'm my
Mhm.
thought ran around what kind of certifications does this entire course
Okay.
help in?
Okay. So see, now you are learning this course through an institute, right? So you will get a certification from this institute saying that, okay, you have enrolled for this course and you have gone through this course, and it was a these many months course. Okay. So that is one kind of a certification, and that certification would be only useful, for you to add in your CV. Okay, but there are a lot of other certification courses, like you can enroll. For example, I did it from ISB, right? So uh, that was a course, for working professionals. Okay, with people who are having some level of experience working in a digital field, and who were some or the other way associated in developing some kind of a data solutions. So that's a altogether different curriculum. Okay, there people will also talk about a particular domain and business areas, and they will discuss on that, and then they will teach you, how those problems, business problems, can be solved through these kind of, analytical solutions. So that is the different content. Okay, there they will teach subject also, they will teach the business problems also, and they will teach, how to build the solutions. So that was more exhaustive. So like that, there were multiple colleges and institutes, educational institutions, who are coming up with the data science or AI courses. Okay. When you enroll into that, you have to go through a kind of it's a basically I've seen that there would be minimum it would be a 6 months to 1 year courses. Okay, and they will give you again a certification. So that certification is something that is you can kind of socialize all that certification because that is coming on through some well-known institutions.
Sorry to interrupt. I think the question being asked, like, do we have certifications like AWS and Azure,
Yeah,
Oracle
any
certifications
external
like that?
certifications that we can
External.
do. Let me say if I want a Tableau certification, can I directly pick and choose Tableau as a certification? Man, does it extensively cover to that level, or does it cover whatever is associated or
Sorry,
required?
I lost you. I lost you. I just got dropped, for a couple of seconds. Can you please repeat the question? Hello,
Yeah.
am I
Uh,
audible?
Yeah, basically, the question is more about
Hmm.
what kind of an external certifications, like, can we
Okay.
directly go for a Tableau certification, or is like AWS? If I learn AWS, I
Mhm.
have certain streams within AWS which I can acquire as an external certification.
Right, right. So when it comes to proprietary tools, okay, third-party tools, then that particular organization gives you some kind of certification. So, for example, Tableau. In when you get into Tableau website, you'll find different kinds of courses. So, this is a whole platform. You can enroll as a for a Tableau developer certification. You can also enroll for Tableau administration certification, right? So, based on your interest, based on your requirement, based on your uh, career growth, okay, you can choose the relevant kind of certification, and that something you can go for it, but it would be you have to kind of spend some amount, and you have to go through that whole training course, and then you have to give that kind of exam, for the certification. Even similarly for AWS, as is again it's a third party, again Azure, Google. When you get again, it's a very broader platform. When you talk about AWS Azure. So it's basically the entire cloud. So there are multiple services related to application development. There are multiple services on AWS or on Google or on Azure related to data engineering. There are a couple of services, which are primarily meant for AI and data science. Okay. So again, these cloud providers, they offer different kind of certifications. So if you want to do data engineering on the cloud, then it would be better you go with a data engineering course and get certified. In that way, you will be considered as a specialist. So you can sell yourself by saying that I am certified on AWS, and that too, on the data engineering side. So I understand all the different services related to data engineering, and I have developed multiple solutions around data engineering by using those services. So that will kind of prove that okay, you are well versed with those services and applications. Okay, similarly for data scientists there would be a separate course, but again those would be primarily meant for that particular platform. The subject will be the same, but the tools are changing. How you can apply this particular techniques, these particular algorithms over the cloud, to build certain solutions, you will able to understand, while going through that certification. So for example, on AWS, we have AWS SageMaker, which is a data scientist tool, on AWS. SageMaker, on that SageMaker, again, we will use Python only. But there are certain kind of services which will help you to expedite this whole development process. For example, deployment. So for deployment on SageMaker, it would be easy. Okay. While in on-prem, on your local, if you want to deploy, you have to put more efforts. Then there is on the model governance, there is a separate services available. For AI, there are separate services available. For NLP, for text analytics, you have a particular kind of AI services available. So all that certification which you're doing on AWS will help you to understand that whole AWS ecosystem. And that certification will prove you that, okay, you understand that platform. So the certification what you're talking about, like Tableau, AWS, Azure, they are primarily meant for that particular platform. And after doing that certification, you will be considered as a specialist who can do this all this data science and AI on top of that particular platform.
Hi, Srikanth.
Yep.
Thanks for the info. Apart from the certifications, so in this course, do we cover hands-on practices? Like
Yes.
we have around 12 plus of experience. We are trying 3 plus into data science. Okay, we are showing that. So do you cover on-prem and cloud? How we will deployment,
We are
some
not.
scenario?
Yeah, we will not cover cloud. We are going to cover on-prem. So that's what I mentioned. Okay, we will cover, how you can train your models on your local system, because on the cloud, it would be altogether a different ball game. Okay, but the major fundamental things will be common. So there also you will use Python, but there would
So
be some kind
are
of
we covering the data engineering, prompt engineering, and DV? And you have showed that, right? And DV you will cover anyways, data visualization. Okay.
yes.
About prompt engineering, all the models,
But
right? Like chatbot you have mentioned in the starting of the session. Do we get all the
I'll tell you,
functions?
I'll tell you what we are going to cover, and we will also share you the whole curriculum, so you can able to understand what all things we are going to cover in more detail. But overall, see, now, as I mentioned, this data science is a much more vast subject. The thing what you just mentioned, like prompt engineering. So prompt engineering is a part of generative AI, which is much more advanced concept. For to understand that, you need to understand a lot of other things. And to cover every part of it in this 2 months or 2.5 months is highly impossible, because I have to teach you from the basic. Okay, and from the basic I have to keep on make you understand the complicated or the advanced part of it. Then slowly only you can able to understand all those advanced things. So prompt engineering is all about, like, chat gpt you might have hearing, right? So it comes under generative AI. Okay, so for that you need to understand how these deep learning models or neural networks or the NLP works. Then only you can able to understand what is prompt engineering. So in short, what is prompt? Okay, you are training the model by providing the prompts, and whatever models you are using, those are pre-built models, okay, which are being trained on huge amount of data. We are just using it, taking the, like, GPT models, GPT 3.5 or 4. They are built on, they have billions of parameters, that model. Okay, so here it is just a simple equation which has three parameters, right? But in those models there are billions of parameters, and we have to fine tune those parameters so that they can understand, your questions and all, your context. So for that you need to understand the basics. It looks good, right? So first thing, I want to change your mind. Okay, it doesn't matter, if you like it or not. Most of the people think that, okay, I should get everything in this limited time. It is of no use, guys. I'm telling you, if you go out, you can just put that as a keywords on your CV, but when the interviewers will start asking the question, you won't be able to answer it properly. I'm saying, if you don't learn this subject the right way, just by hearing the things, okay, just by thinking that, okay, now the prompt engineering jobs, okay, are the highly paid jobs. Okay, if you go and start understanding the prompt engineering without knowing the underneath engine, how it performs, it is of no use. So all those things like cloud, I'm saying, it is such a vast subject. Okay, you cannot cover that in 1 or 2 months. And if you're thinking that, okay, you thinking that it can be covered in 2 to 3 months, then it's a misnomer. Okay, it's not achievable. Just to understand statistics, it will take good amount of time, and you have to go step by step. Based on my experience, I'm telling, if you are liking or not. Okay, you cannot cover cloud, you cannot cover every platform, you cannot cover generative AI in just 3 months. So the way I'm telling you frankly, the way I've covered this course are for the people, who have no clue about the data science and they want to start their journey from the basics. And I'm not saying just I will teach you at a very high level. I'll take you till intermediary level. Okay. but there are a lot of other things, which can be learned. Okay, but I don't recommend you right now. First, you have to get into this particular area, then you start building your career accordingly. If you want to go on a AWS route, then go towards AWS. If you have to go on Azure route, then you have to go and learn Azure or Google. If you want to build your career on the generative AI, then start learning generative AI. So I will take you at a position. From there, you can choose your path, and you can get into this data scientist profile. So probably, all these things you might coming across because when you're looking at into the job description, you're finding all these keywords in the job description. This generative AI has recently came into picture, okay, the time when this chat GPT launched. And after that, there is too much of buzzword, okay, in the market of using this generative AI. Okay, now I'm experiencing that because I meet customers on a daily basis. Now, first of all, the understanding and the usage of this generative AI is something, people should get educated. Okay, they feel that everything can be automated, everywhere we can use generative AI, but it's not like that. You have to scope the use case. You have to firstly understand where exactly generative AI can be used to what extent. Okay, and then there is a lot of fine tuning is required. You cannot just randomly just take it and use it. Okay, so a lot of customization is also required. And for customizing, that's where I'm saying you need to understand how that model is trained, how that model functions. That knowledge is important. And to understand that knowledge, you have to go through all these things, because this is the science which you need to understand. Without knowing the science, you cannot able to understand what is developed on top of that. I hope you are getting. Right. So to be frank, we are not going to cover cloud at this moment. We are planning for coming up with some specialized courses. Okay. Covering all the cloud would not be possible in this limited time. Covering advanced concept generative AI would not be possible. I'll cover till neural networks, till deep learning. And after that, you can choose your path. And now you might be having a question like, okay, whatever we are covering in this course, would it be sufficient? This whatever curriculum I've shared with you, that much portion of knowledge is sufficient, to get into this field with 3 to 4 years of experience. And we are going to cover 12 to 13 use cases, practical use cases. We will have a hands-on practice sessions, okay, in the class, where we will take you through the line by line code. We'll explain you the data set. We will explain you the business problem. And then we will show you step by step how we are processing that data and how we are training the model, how we are testing the model. And we will also help you understand how you can deploy these models for the users, to consume those models. To that extent, we are going to cover. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. So that's the reason I'm putting a lot of stress in making you understand this subject. People are misunderstanding this subject. There are multiple learning paths, you will find in data science. Okay, it's a very, I will say it is a vast and very complicated subject. If you don't choose your path in the right way, you will, I think, you will not reach anywhere, because I learned it in a hard way. I was in a similar kind of a situation where there's so many things I was hearing around data science, and I was picking up randomly certain things, okay, which is being discussed a lot in the market. And I was not moving at all because I was not understanding, what's happening, in this particular area or in that particular area, because I was everywhere. After that, I learned all those things some or the other way, okay, but I was not having a strong foundation. But when I enrolled into multiple courses, and finally when I gone through this ISB course, I got a systematic approach, in terms of applying that knowledge, or in terms of understanding that knowledge. Otherwise, you won't be able to apply that knowledge to solve any problem. See, generative AI is much more complicated part, okay? And to test those models, it's a nightmare. You never know what kind of response that bot will generate. Do you see that ChatGPT respond every time the right thing? Probably not. If I can. There is a hallucination problem. We as a data scientist, we can hallucinate those bots very easily. We'll write such a prompt that even that bot will get confused. So we need to understand where to use those kind of a complex. These are completely black box models. So if you know the problem statement, if you can solve it with a simpler approach, that is much better than going with any complicated approach. It's like, you're having just a um, headache and you are suggesting surgery, or you're suggesting an MRI scan. If it's just a simple headache because of stress. So you need to understand what is the problem in detail, and you need to come up with more elegant and simplistic solution. For that, you need to understand this whole broader scope. Otherwise, you will just become a generative AI specialist, okay, where you can just know, how to do the prompt engineering, how to, deploy those LLM models and everything. And those kind of roles are also there, but those are very limited. So now it's your choice, what learning path you want to make. Okay, so coming back, so certifications, yeah, there are multiple certifications available, platform specific or even on the subject specific. It depends on which institute you are referring to. There are a lot of online courses are available, like you will find multiple courses on Coursera, Udemy. There are multiple other platforms, okay, on which you can go and do the courses and you will get certified. They will provide you certification. Okay. Um, so like that, you can do the certification. But I must tell you, the most important part in data science is the application of these techniques and this science on the data. That is very, very important. And people struggle there. In my team, there are very few people who can translate a business problem into an analytical problem. And I majorly stress on that part only. Because if you are going as a problem solver, as a data scientist, if you cannot transform any business problem into analytical problem, at the at the first step only you are lost. Okay, you cannot move ahead. So for that you need to know every technique and every algorithm in a way that you can choose the right algorithm, the right technique to solve any particular problem. Okay, so I'll take again the analogy of the carpenter. Okay, the carpenter should not only learn the most complex tool, okay, to prepare the furniture, but he should know every smaller tools also, how it works. Then only he can become a full-fledged carpenter. For even drilling a screw, he cannot take a big machinery and drill that, okay? It's not required. So like that, as a data scientist, to solve a simple problem, you cannot go with and propose a generative AI solution. To run a generative AI solution, you require huge infrastructure, huge compute, because it's a big software. And you will be amazed by knowing that OpenAI, okay, the company which has developed this ChatGPT, they are in losses. Why? Still, people are using so much, but still they are in losses because according to their strategy, what they have done is they have just released this ChatGPT to excite the entire community. Okay, everyone is talking about ChatGPT, so he has created that kind of interest in the people by giving it for free. And when that company has given it for free, just imagine how many billions of people they are using ChatGPT. To run that model, that company has to spend a lot of money, to maintain that infrastructure. And for that, they went into losses. Now they are getting into, revenue model. Now they are kind of tasted it and they are kind of got addicted to it. Now people can't live without ChatGPT. Now every businesses, they are going and adopting this ChatGPT, and there comes this revenue model. Now OpenAI is kind of generating more revenue. Okay, but in the same lines, there are many other companies which have come up with the LLM models. So this is altogether a different stream, and in data science, now, okay. So instead of running towards each of these, have a proper systematic way of learning. Okay, so definitely generative AI is good, but you need to don't miss out the foundation. First learn that and then carry away with them. Okay, so and one more thing I will remind guys, you need to have a patience. It's not a kind of a course which you can learn in 1 or 2 months in Amirpet and get certified, and the third day you will get a job. I don't mind, if people, you guys don't join this course, because I'm not commercial kind of a trainer. Why I'm into training? Because I want you to show you the right path. That is something my interest. Okay, so don't expect that. Okay, so you need to have a patience. But once you get into this job, guys, I will guarantee that your career would be safe. Because currently this whole data science is not reached to its maturity, and it is in evolution. So there's lot of scope, lot of opportunities you will see in the market, and the kind of salaries, the compensation, the value, the visibility this particular professional gets, it's different than any other professional. And as a data scientist is directly impacting the business, I've seen people, data scientists, getting transformed into or grown into a business leaders and become a CEO and CFOs of any company, because they know, how to make a better decisions with the help of data. So they understand that subject. And even the business domain understanding is also important, in data scientists. So in that way, these people are considered as the most appropriate or better fit, for the leadership roles. So in that case, I would suggest, like, if you have a patience, then please go for it. Or if you want a quick results, then sorry, this is not that kind of course. And my personal experience, I was a business analyst. I was drawing around 5 to 6 lakhs. Okay, once I joined the this particular role company. But after that, once I become a data scientist, I myself I have seen, how I have grown in terms of compensation, in terms of my growth. Now I'm heading a data science team. I never imagined I may reach to this kind of position. Okay, I haven't changed much companies, but I must tell you that if I would have changed, I would have gone into much more higher position also. Okay, and the kind of exposure I'm getting in this role, I'm getting into pre-sales, marketing, delivery, technical and business positions, roles, I'm getting. Okay, so that kind of an exposure you will get. If you become a Python developer or a Java developer, these kind of opportunities you may not get it. Okay, so this is where, I get upset, okay, when people, talk about, in this limited time, can you teach this? I can teach you one day each, I can teach a different topic, but end of the day, you will not get anything out of it. Okay, so sorry I took more time, to explain this, but this I wanted, to explain it in more detail to each one of you, so that you should not expect, in this course that I will teach everything possible. All right. So any other questions? I can take 1 or 2 questions, and then
Yeah,
we'll
one
wrap up.
question from my end. Just after completing this course, so uh, what are the roles we can look for to
You can
get
look
into the
out
job?
for data scientist roles. You can look out for data analyst roles. You can look out for ML engineer roles. Okay, so these are some of the roles, which you can target. If you have some business understanding or domain understanding, then you can also look out for business analyst roles also.
Okay.
Okay, and you can look out for from freshers till 3 to 4 years experience levels after this course. And if you want to compare our course, whether it is relevant or not, you can just look out in any job portal or probably on LinkedIn, look out for data scientist roles. Go through their job description and see what they're asking. So in this course, almost 70 to 80% of those things will be covered. I can guarantee that. Because see, I take interviews also. Okay, I have built this entire team, from the scratch. Okay, this is not exaggerating. This is a true fact. What I'm telling, when I joined this firm at that time, there was only 2 to 3 people of data scientists. Okay, and and it was this whole data science service was a new service, which the company wanted to take it to the market. So from that level till where we are, okay, I was part of that team. Okay, now we are at 50, and by end of this year we want to double this team. So I was in the process in drafting a job description, in drafting the role, in interviewing the candidates, and then planning their whole training program. I'm involved in all those things. So with that knowledge, with that experience, I have came up with this course curriculum. So that's the reason I'm saying you go and look out for the job description. Then only you take your decision. Look at the job description, compare that with this curriculum, see that whatever keywords mentioned in the job descriptions are there in this curriculum or not. Okay, and you can take till 3 to 4 years of experience job roles. Okay. Any other questions?
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello.
Yeah.
Yes, so I'm taking a business analyst course. So I'm leaving for masters in like 5 months. So I just want to know. I want to share my curriculum in this chat so that if this course will be aligned to my curriculum or not.
Okay. So you're planning to do masters where? In India or abroad?
Abroad, actually.
Okay. Yeah. So in US mostly this if you're going with any master's course, they will cover data science
Yes, I'm
and AI
taking a
as well to some.
business analyst. I'm taking a business analyst course.
Yeah. So there you will find certain I some topics around data science also, right?
Yes, that's why I'm taking up
You
this.
can you can share. Yeah, you can share that. We'll go through it.
Yeah, in a second I'm sharing.
Or else you can just compare with our course curriculum with that your business analyst curriculum, and you can see that how many of the topics are common.
Okay. I've just shared the curriculum. Can you please
So are you
check?
sharing your screen? You want to share your screen, or
I've shared the
you're putting
curriculum
that on chat?
in the chat.
On the chat?
Yeah.
I haven't received it yet. Is Shashank who is talking?
Yes.
Okay. So what I will do is I will give you control. Why don't you share your screen?
Okay.
Anybody else? So everyone need not be there on the call. So if anybody has any question, feel free to ask.
Hello.
Hello.
Sir, I've just said the curriculum in the chat. Can you please go through it once?
Can't see that in the chat.
1 second.
Can you send it again?
Yeah. Otherwise, I'll just share my screen and show it to you.
And
Yeah,
the
we also
code.
don't see any chart.
Yes, in the chat it's not there.
It's empty. Yeah.
I don't know how to give control. It's not showing. The option is also not there. Hmm.
I guess it went to you directly. It's a direct message, I guess.
No, I can't see it. I am unable to give you the control. Surinder, are you there on the call? Surendra is also not there. I'm the co-host. Just the reason I'm unable to give it.
Okay, now can you say it? Have-
Yeah, now I can see it. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is my curriculum.
Mm, okay. Yeah. Data models and decisions. Okay. Can you share the advanced, the detailed one? Data. See, we are going to cover data. We are going to cover models. We are going to cover how to decisions can be made out of the data and models. Database management, no, that is more of a data engineering part. Data
Okay.
processing and analytics in Python, yes. Big data and artificial intelligence for business, yes. Data mining and predictive analytics, yes. Data visualization, yes. Web analytics, no. Uh, See, web analytics, operation analytics, these are certain domains, okay, in which you can apply analytics and derive value from the data. So we will cover one or two use cases around it, but not in complete detail. Okay, so
Uh,
operation analytics,
okay.
but you will get an idea, like how in operations.
Basically, what I need is I'm basically new to this domain. Have around 1.5 year
Yeah,
experience.
that much understanding definitely you will get it. Even you will get some advanced understanding also.
Okay, great,
So.
great,
Yeah, so people, who have gone abroad, for masters, they have enrolled into this course, and in the front office, you will get some reference also. So you can even reach out to them and you can understand, how this course has benefited, for them, for
okay,
this particular master's course. Price
okay,
optimization, revenue management, again, it's a particular domain, but related to price and revenue, we are going to cover certain use cases. So decision analytics, yes. Yeah, I must say that okay, data processing, analytics in Python, and big data and artificial intelligence for business, data mining and predictive analytics. This we will cover more than 60 to 70%
great,
of
great,
all the topics, and other are more domain specific. So from those domain, we'll cover few use cases.
great, great.
So, but we'll touch on all those aspects. That's for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just want to get my basics and the foundation right. That's all because I'm
Yeah.
new to the. I'm
Right.
more into that.
So,
So
So this course is meant for people like you, who want to understand the basics and all. So we will cover in more detail.
okay,
Yeah,
okay. Thank you.
thank you. Any other questions, guys?
So you told you'll be covering from the basics, but and how much part you'll be covering in advance, like till
Okay,
what
see,
stage can be experience can be put maximum.
yes, so as I mentioned, you can show your experience till 4 years of experience. You can
Okay.
easily show out of this course. So when it comes to advanced, we are going to cover from basic statistics like mean, median, mode, till the level where you can construct complex neural networks like convolutional neural networks or LSTMs. To that extent, we are going to cover the topics. So those are like considered as an advanced topics only, deep learning models and all. So we will take you to till that extent.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how many months of practice we need to have and cope up
See,
to?
if you follow this course and whatever we are covering in this course parallelly, if you practice, so in a day, if you can devote 2 to 3 hours separately for this course,
Hmm.
and if you continuously you are on track and if you remember all the topics, whatever we are covering in this course, immediately after this course, after 3 months, you can start looking out for the job. But it is little difficult, okay? I must tell you, because if you are working, so in that way, you have to spend couple of more months after the course gets completed, to further revise and further go through those topics and to practice. So as much you practice, that much proficient you will be on Python, as well as in terms of training the models, in terms of processing the data and all. So it is not like, every use case will be different. In one use case, you may not require much of the processing, but in other use cases, processing would be the key. So we will understand through various use cases, we will come up with those kind of scenario, but those are one of the scenarios. But how much practice you will do on your own, that many new scenarios may come up and you will get more understanding. Okay. So as I said, there is no one thumb rule that, okay, if you practice for 15 days or 20 days, you will be a pro, right? I'm still practicing after 17 years also, still I'm learning. So it is a
Yeah.
continuous learning. Okay.
Yeah.
So I must say that you keep practicing, okay, and keep attempting, for the interviews. You may crack, okay, if you have a good base and with whatever understanding you have, whatever you have practiced, if you can able to articulate it well in the interview,
Mhm.
I think you can easily crack.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. So we'll wrap up for today and we'll connect tomorrow. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.